What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to another episode of Marvel Future Fight. So not a lot going on in the world of gaming besides, playing with Ni no Kuni Cross Worlds, which is an absolutely fantastic game, barring, its NFT microtransaction system that's sort of, confusing the game in a lot of ways. That Marvel needs to divest from this because it's not going to make a lot of people happy. And then Diablo Immortal, which is total dumpster fire and is getting shitted on, for what it is. So what I want to do is I want to continue on with Marvel Future Fight content because it is exciting. I did a video recently for you guys showing you why some of you are not able to complete some of the in-game activities, especially those like giant boss raid Dormammu, world boss legend, dispatch mission, those areas that are typically in-game content that are there for veteran level players. Like it's not like you're going to jump in dispatch mission as a new player, even with your first or second or even third tier 3 character, and have them built appropriately and be able to jump inside some of the content and understand the rotations of the skills, the way they're built and everything. So I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit more insight onto how you build your characters, and in this video how to build your account more specifically, because I gave you guys the piece there where we talk about, building up your character, but every character is going to be a little bit different depending on the way your account is built. And let's take a look at that, what I mean by this. So there's a couple of ways in here in which you, the player, can affect your account overall. One of those ways is your agent level. So as you raise up in your agent level, this is a reason why you should be playing World Event. I am bad at this. I don't play World Event realistically. I hate to say that. I don't even use resources in order to raise my agent level, but it is viable and valuable to play, especially if you're a beginning player, because there's going to be some bonuses inside here that you're going to want to take advantage of. Things like max HP in order to increase your HP pool. Your increased gold acquisition would allow you to level up more characters because you'll gain more gold. The same thing with item acquisition chance. Like I showed you guys, Uru, ISO 8, those items are important to building your character, so you want to be acquiring those pieces so that way you can develop your characters more and have more mature T3 characters instead of simply characters you have at T3. Some of the other ones in here as well, all basic attack, there's nothing wrong with that as well. If you're a veteran player, there might be not a need for you to go into gold or item acquisition depending on how your account is playing out and what you spend in the game and things like that. But this can be really helpful. Now, one of the areas that is really gonna have an impact on the game, however, is going to be your cards. Your I was getting ready to call them Omega cards, but they're not Omega cards. It's your special, it's your premium cards inside this game. So let's take a look at those. All right, so first up we have here, why am I acquiring this stuff anyways? So let's take a look at our cards. Where are we at? Cards. Okay, so as you're playing through the game, what you're going to notice is that you're going to acquire dimension tokens. I think they're called premium tokens, and you're going to want to acquire those tokens at a clip, especially from giant boss raid, because every 600 tokens you acquire, you get to spend inside the store, which is going to enable you to so like for instance, you can purchase a premium comic card for 600 tokens. Now they're usually very easy to get because you get 10 a day, so that's over a 30-day period. You're going to get 300, and then if we tend to always have a future pass, and the reward for future pass at the end is literally 300 of those same tokens. So you can get that, and that pretty much guarantees over probably like a 6-month span, unless you've invested money into the game, that you can get a premium card at a clip. Now, and the premium cards that they have inside the shop, they're actually really good. Like if you were to look at these overall, you can see some premium cards in here that you definitely want. All three of the White Fox, Luna Snow, Crescent, and IO, the OG cards, those are good. The Black Panther, this Black Panther is a good card. Some of these other ones kind of fall out, but then you get to like Spider-Man, good card, Amazing Civil War 2, really good card, and Guardians of the Galaxy, best story. Those are cards that you should be hunting. Now, a reason why you should be playing Dimension Rifts, especially now, is because they've moved the card crafting cubes that you need in order to level up your comic cards. So let me show you guys what I mean about that, right? So let's go inside our cards here. So as you get premium comic cards inside the game, there's going to be a couple of things that you want to hunt down. The first thing that you really want is to get that card to at least, you know, a card grade of 6. Once you get it to a card grade of 6, and pay attention to this, guys that play Marvel Future Revolution, because this will eventually come to Marvel Future Revolution. Mark my words. So when we get these cards, what you're basically looking at is a way to kind of craft these cards to make them the best option. Now, it used to be that we cried out for Netmarble to basically give us better chances at these random options that came with cards, and they didn't give it to us. They never gave us a way to re-roll them. So basically, you got what you got from the random options, and that's basically essentially where it's stuck at. You got what you got. What you're looking at from the cards basically are these fixed options. So depending on the cards that you equip is going to determine, you know, your level of what your card effects and what they're granting you. What you're looking for next is the ability to hit these icons right here. Now, Pierce is king in the game right now, so you really want to be focused on Pierce at this point. That's not to say that there's like some things in the game that actually benefit concentration, which is the red stars, but realistically what you want to be going for here is these blue stars. For each 2 blue stars you get, basically it's like an additional for every 3 blue stars you basically get an additional 2% of pierce damage. That's basically the way it works out, right? So like you can see here, I've got an energy defense that is green, and you can look at the rest of my stats. Now I've got a dodge, you can see critical damage, crit rate, and then you can even see physical attack inside here, right? Well, the physical attack is not necessarily something that's going to benefit me overall, because I don't play with a lot of my physical attack characters, but that doesn't mean that it's a wasted stat. But fire resist, this is not going to help me. Energy defense, this is also not going to help me. So basically, when I look at these overall, what I want to be concerned about is re-rolling these. Now, am I going to re-roll the fire resist immediately? No, because it's giving me at least, you know, that blue star inside of there. And if I got the energy, if I got another blue star here, it would really help me just to have that blue star, you know, because the pierce would matter more than the fact that I don't have a very good stat in fire resist. Now, that's essentially the way I'm looking down the barrel at that. So basically, for every single one of your stars, there's a stat that you really want to headhunt in there. So you can see, for instance, here I've got dodge and recovery, because those are going to be the 2 stats there. You can see here I've got max HP. That's pretty much what I want to get from there. It's going to be really hard to roll at, because you can see I've got lightning resist, mine resist, movement speed, energy defense. These are trash stats that I don't really need. Over here, obviously, the skill that I'm going to want the most out of these, ignore defense, right? Because basically you've got like a 1 in 4, 1 in 5, or 2 in 5 chances of receiving the best stat overall inside there, which obviously is going to lend itself more to basically you being like, hey, I've got to invest a little bit of my crystals, because in order to actually hit those crafting stats, I have to actually craft combine, which means that it requires me to utilize another premium comic card along with these along with these card crafting cubes, which can only be acquired through the new Dimension Rift now. I don't like this, that they did this, essentially, in my opinion, because this wasn't a mode that I was necessarily keen on playing in the first place, and it definitely doesn't make me keen on playing it now. But you give some, you lose some. I understand that they're trying to make other game modes more rewarding and more compelling for you to play, right? So you basically need to make sure that when you open up your Rift and when you join other people's Rifts, that you are farming the hell out of these, because you really want these card crafting cubes if you're going to be leveling up your comic cards, and that is highly important, to be leveling up your comic cards, right? Because overall that's going to change the stats. So that gives you an idea of what you should be working towards. So if your cards at the end of 6 months, you know, there's other cards in the game that you can use to mitigate these, but you shouldn't be crafting these into that, you know, like all the way to 6 stars and everything like that. You know, you should be focused on your premium comic cards overall. Now, this is going to add to you a certain level of effects for your account overall, and knowing what your account effects are is highly important, especially if you understand kind of like, oh, this is how I play specific characters, right? So you can see, for instance, right here, I've got 13% additional pierce damage. That means that when I go play Giant Boss Raid Dormammu, on his second stage, this 13% is nearly halved. So this is the reason why you're going to see some of these bigger players like, you know, Capellix and Beast Mode Gaming doing better at those, because they're already capped out on pierce damage and stuff like that, and they've made that, you know, that trek to getting those overall. You really need to want to focus on these as well. Now, there's going to be other stats that are going to lend you to let you know how your account is playing overall. So for instance, for my account, you can see like dodge is really high up there. It's 55%. So that means any new character that I basically get into my rotation is going to start out with 55% dodge. So like you can look, for instance, at a character like let me jump in here real quick for you, and let's say we go to my team, right? And so if I was to look at my team, and let's go over here to, I don't think I have anything on him, so let's hope. Yeah, so he has nothing inside his gear. He has nothing leveled up for his skills. You can see he has nothing for his type. He's got some ISO 8 sets on him, but they're very, very raw, right? So you can see this, like nothing there is necessarily dodge related or anything. He's got no artifact, and then he's got a little bit of custom gear that was just fire mind damage. It was just something I threw on him. And even his uniform isn't necessarily going to give him any big stats, because I haven't really changed anything yet as I move to unlock him. So that means that when I go to my character's details screen over here, I can see a base number that should show up. So for instance, you can see here that he's already maxed out at 75% dodge, even though a lot of what he has is already maxed out because of his innate abilities, and then the abilities that come from his uniform, and then basically my stat overall on the account. So my crit damage, my ignore defense, my reduced cooldown duration, you can see his fire damage. These are just innate stats to the character. So that means that now I have to do a lot less in order to cap out on specific stats for the character. It makes it a lot easier for me to go inside here and change up stats. For instance, like, you know, if I was to look at his skill cooldown, like I don't need skill cooldown anymore, so I can change that because I know my skill cooldown is already at the max rate anyways. So something like his critical rate, which was only at like 55%, I can now easily go inside there, change it, and get it really boosted up. So you see the way that's working? Like it makes the character and the characters in the game a lot easier to level up. Obviously, this is going to have some benefit to whether or not I use certain set bonus effects and things like that are going to also give me increases and stuff like that overall. But this is the reason why you want to be paying attention to these, because as I go up inside the set bonus stage effect, you can see that there's going to be a significant increase in terms, well, not significant, but it's a pretty decent jump in terms of what I'm giving towards a character's baseline attributes. So here I have a character who doesn't have a fully leveled up uniform or anything like that, and he's basically sitting at already with most of his primary stats already capped. Ignore defense, cooldown duration, crit damage, crit rate, attack speed, and even his dodge. So what you're also looking at inside here, and something that I ignored for the longest time as a veteran, mostly I play the game passively, to be honest with you. I'm not like an active like go-getter, like a hunter inside the game, similar to what you would see like Moonbro, Beast Mode, and Capellix. So I don't actively play the game as much as they do. It's not like a primary effort. I play a lot of games, right? Is that basically when we get into those card effects, you want to be aware of the characters that you are using versus the characters you aren't using. Like for instance, in my account, you can see here I've got about 39.4% physical attack versus my 23% energy attack. That means that all of my characters that I do use, who are mostly energy attack, aren't getting the benefit of my card effects overall in the game, because I'm not not built up that way for the character, right? Like it's my all basic attack is really high, but you can see like my crit damage and these things are really high. My max HP is not necessarily as high as it needs to be, and there's different people who will tell you different things about where those stats should lie and how you want to even it out. Truth of the matter is, unless you're really like spending money in the way that you've got crystals on hand and comic cards and things like that, you're really not really the determining factor. It's basically pull of the luck, you know, for what you might get, and then you understand that. But you do understand the way certain stats work, like, you know, cooldown duration. It was really clear to me that, you know, 30% was like a bare minimum cap that I needed to have inside there. You can see like my ignored defense is at like 62.4. I'm only getting an ignored dodge of 3% or whatever. That also comes into like your card collections, because when you complete card sets inside the game, each of the card sets will give you some base stats as well. This is the reason why cards inside Marvel Future Fight are so important, because they add overall to the squad, your entire account effect inside here. So you want to be hunting these things down, because obviously I want that ignored dodge for that 3%, right? A little bit of ignored dodge ain't gonna hurt nobody, right? I want to be able to say like, this is the one that I'm surprised. I don't know what's going on with this, because I have that card. I've had that card, and I don't understand why I'm still not getting the ignore defense from there. I've never collected all of the art book cards, so I'm missing out on all basic attack 3%. And for some reason, I remember missing out on his Marvel Future Fight's 3rd anniversary card, and it pissed me off. And yes, I was playing the game then, but I missed out on it basically because I was just ignoring the. I didn't log in on that day or some shit like that. That just pissed me off during that time. I wasn't playing it as heavy because I remember I was playing Marvel Heroes Omega. But these are things that you need to be looking at overall for your account. This also comes in hand with team building. A lot of times I will see players where they'll just throw in characters willy-nilly, doesn't make any fucking sense as to why the characters are on a team. You should be looking for synergy with your characters. There should be some kind of idea behind what's building. Like, who's my leader? Are my other characters providing bonuses in terms of passive stats and, you know, things like that? Like, you know, those are the things I want to look at. Who's my main DPS? Obviously on this team, it's Loki. Black Cat is providing a really good leadership in terms of her skills, right? So if I was to look at her passive, it gives me to all allies, right? So everybody's getting that debuff effect by 40%, right? If I look at her passives though, they provide very much little in the way of my heroes, but it doesn't make a difference because I'm using somebody like Loki, who's a villain, and I'm getting that basic attack increase, that dodge rate increase as well. So it's really helpful for me there. And then I look at a character like Valkyrie, who's giving me even better passives and stuff like that, giving me ignore targets, dodge rate, increase basic supervillain damage, supervillain faction, and I can see those things overall, and this is helping me create an effective team in battle. So when you jump inside Giant Boss Raid, for instance, this would be an effective team to put because there's synergy between the characters. That's how you should be building your account to play. You should be looking for characters that are going to provide synergy to the main characters you want. The great thing about Marvel Future Fight, in my opinion, is that at some point we always roll into characters that will fit into the meta, but sometimes your characters that you really just enjoy playing can become the shining example inside the show. It's really just a matter of whether or not you've invested inside those characters. Now, there's one thing that I want to make sure that you pay attention to in terms of your overall account effects, and it's one of the things that, you know, Beast Mode Gaming pointed out in one of his videos. There are bonuses overall inside things like World Boss Legend, for instance, or even if inside of like squad battles. So for instance, if I was to go back over here and I was to look up like squad battle, right? Not Shadowland, excuse me. If I was to look up squad battle, Neil, Jesus. So if I look at squad battle over here, you can see that there's a character bonus of 80%, right? That's based on how many characters that I've essentially got to tier 3, awakened potential, or got them to like level 70 or tier 2 and above. I'm going to receive bonus stats because of that. If I was to go inside World Boss Legend, for instance, right, and I was to look at my my raid score, or not the Conqueror level, but it's my raid score. Where is that bastard at? Let's see where it is. Come here, bastard. Where's my raid score? I don't know how I always seem to miss out on these things as I'm playing inside the game, right? It's like weird to me. But like when I'm doing a video and then it just like, I feel definitely stupid. I don't know why. But basically there's going to be a raid score that's also depicted by your character and the effects that you have from your character inside here, right? Meaning like, oh, there we go, world boss info. I don't know why I did that. So you can see like my level inside here is set at 704. So that's my raid level overall for the game, meaning this is an accumulation of all of the levels that I've completed for all of these characters, and you can see that this is giving me a bonus inside of the raid. So when you see a character like Capellix doing a little bit more damage because he has completed a lot more Valor level inside there, you know, he has a higher raid level, this is the reason why the damage modifiers are just a little bit more significant. The same thing with the character bonuses. You can see that as I own, you know, max HP characters, you know, that's going to give me for combat characters, my all attack for blast characters, my valor for universal, and my defense for speed, right? So there's an incentive there for you to then look at how this is playing out and be like, man, I'm getting hit a lot and I'm taking a lot of damage and I can't survive. Maybe I need to invest in a little bit more of these combat class characters. So there's benefit in leveling up characters and playing characters overall. Well, just leveling up characters even if you don't plan on playing them. Shadowland is a very good reason to do that, because you can take characters all the way up to the top tiers of the game. So you know, just have a full roster that can complete that entire mission set for you. It's entirely up to you, but realistically this is just giving you guys some ideas. Now I'm going to break all this stuff down in future videos, so that way you guys understand the intricacies of like why ISO 8 is important, types of ISO 8 that you should be equipping, type of ISO 8s that's not valuable for you to equip, you know, Urus and things like that across the board, so that way you guys get a better understanding. Because I noticed that there is a big gap inside of the knowledge for the player base, and it's one of the things that I think, you know, veteran players kind of make fun of, but it will help out the community, as you can see, especially inside modes like Giant Boss Raid, where we want more players to be able to play and be able to actually impact the game in the way that they're playing it, so that way we all benefit from it. Because right now, me having a weak roster in terms of, you know, friends list, and me having a weak alliance doesn't really help me in completing Giant Boss Raid, which will eventually cap me out from being able to get to a character like Iron Man at T4, which I really want to do. So, you know, come say, come sa. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, peace.